All right, so that's a bunch of technical picks to work with. Let's now invite our other experts who are also joined us. Mr. Tulsian is with us. Mayuresh Joshi of Angel Broking has also joined us, and Amit Gupta is also with us to give us FNO strategies. Well, actually, why don't we start with Amit? Amit, the FNO strategy on Nifty itself?
See, last time when I came on the channel, I recommended that the market looks very much range bound, because if you look at the last two expiries, we had closed at the volume weighted average price. This time this price is placed around 7780 and 7800, and looking at the FII's move now into the market, they are not doing anything. We are hardly getting 10, 20 rupees or 100 rupees of plus minus figures in the net figures. So my assumption is that markets may remain in a consolidation mode for the time being. And last time I recommended a sell on 77 put and simultaneously a sell on 7900 call at a premium of 100 rupees. That premium has come down substantially. So when the OTM options are losing the prices, now we have come down to the ATM prices. So today we are recommending writing 7800 call and put both. So the total premium could be around 120, 125 rupees. But looking at that market, how the market is behaving, I think eventually you should find this premium around 60 rupees. You keep your stop loss around 155 for the cumulative premium. Directionally, I think 7700 remains very crucial, because the way the IVs have come down, the implied volatility before the US Fed event also was subdued, and after that it has come down very substantially towards 14.5. So my assumption is that this has happened on the basis of the accumulation at 77 put and 8000 calls. So this remains the broad range is still for the market, and once we close below 7700, only then we should start unwinding these theta kind of trades, and then possibly we can look for the downside. So till that time, I think stock specific moves or the short volatility kind of plays may be on for some time.
All right, let's do one thing. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll be just in time for the pre-opening rates, and we have a couple of our fundamental guests also waiting by. Stay tuned.
CNBC TV 18, celebrating 16 years of business leadership.
Hi, welcome back to the show. Well, the SGX Nifty is indicating that the start of the markets will be in the green side. Most Asian markets are in the green as well. But let's talk about some fundamental ideas now. Mr. S.P. Tulsian joins in, and we have Mayuresh Joshi of Angel Broking who's also with us. Gentlemen, morning to both of you. Mr. Tulsian, I want to start off with you. We generally talk about Tata Group stocks, you know, Tata Steel, Tata Motors, but you've identified a lesser known and lesser talked about company, Artisan Engineering.
See, Sonia, this is a very interesting stock. They are into the oil related, EPC contractor, and have established as a pioneer in providing the liquid or maybe the oil handling technology, which is very critical for refinery, chemical plant, petrochemical, for tankage, for tank construction, for pipeline and all that. And in fact, this is a classic turnaround case. In fact, if you see for first half, they had a top line of 47 crore, where the operating profit has been at 1.83 crore against whole of FY15 operating profit of 51 lakhs. So in first half, the PAT has been at 74 lakhs against loss of 2 crore in FY15. So that has given an EPS of 20 paise for first half on a 1 rupee face value. It's a 1 rupee face value, and it was in fact a BIFR company. They have converted this, it has been coming out of BIFR, and 45 crore loan which has been given by the Tata Group to the company, they are not providing the interest, and they will be converting that entire 45 crore into the 4% preference share, 4% optionally non-convertible preference shares and all that. So that will make the company debt free. So going forward, and in this recent past, if you see in last couple of months, they have announced to the stock exchanges also, they have received orders of about 40 crores, and they have been continuously getting that order. And they have two infrastructure, one at Nasik where the capacity is 1000 ton per month, and second capacity is at Jamshedpur where the capacity is 3000 ton per month for all this steel fabrication, for steel structurals, for the tubular fittings, for all sort of things. So in fact, if you see the professional board kind of the company, so taking all this into consideration, 75% stake of the Tatas, I think the stock, which is now ruling at 56, can move to a level of about 75 in next 6 months.
Okay, thanks for spotting that. We will come back to you for more such ideas. For the moment, the markets have opened with a bright paint of green. That's 1.2% higher. I guess that will be tough to sustain. We're almost reaching out to 7,900 on the pre-opening trades. Pre-opening bids. These are not trades yet. Okay, now coming back to 7850 levels. The Sensex was more sedate in its opening. It's up about 0.3%. That's the Sensex. The rupees opened stronger at 66.26. So quite clearly that historical number, the current account deficit as of September 30 is not going to disturb anyone. At this point in time, there are inflows definitely in equities, and so the rupee market as well cheerful. Globally, the dollar has also been slightly subdued. That's opening for you. We will get to the nitty-gritties in just a bit. Let's discuss some more fundamental ideas with our guests. Mayuresh, good morning to you. You've identified Bajaj Electricals for us. What's turning around for that company?
Morning, Lata. I think as you rightly pointed out, it is a turnaround story. So clearly, I think if you look at the business segments, consumer durables and lightings and luminaires contribute 69% of the top line for the company. The E&P segment contributes 31%. Now clearly the E&P segment was a big drag on the company's consolidated financials, with weak execution happening, cost overruns resulting in working capital issues and so on and so forth. However, our own take is with legacy orders almost out of the books and with expectations of high margin orders which are expected to come through and which are coming through, the EBIT margins specifically in the E&P segment will show a huge improvement. So clearly I think the EBIT losses of 87 odd crores that the segment posted in FY15, our own take is by FY17 that should be EBIT profits of close to 96 odd crores. Having said that, consumer durables business was a clear drag when it came to numbers as well, with slower volume growth happening. Only the appliances segment, which has a strong tie-up with Moffitt Richards, I think that did extremely well. But again, I think the brand association, Lata, is extremely strong with Bajaj Electricals. On the luminaire side, it has a tie-up with Trilux of Germany, on LED lighting with Rod Lighting of the US, on the fan side with Disney. So clearly, I think all these segments are going to contribute significantly, and the management has focused on range, reach, and replenishment, which probably will aid consumer durable EBIT margins going forward as well. So clearly, I think in terms of financials, our own take is that the EBITDA margins should show a huge improvement from 2.1% posted in FY15 to around 5.8% in FY17, solely based on the turnaround that we're probably witnessing on the E&P side. This should trickle down on the bottom line. So the company has posted losses in FY15 to the tune of 14 odd crores with negative margins of 0.3%. Our own take is that bottom line margins should be around 2.4%, with profits in FY17 anywhere to the tune of 125 to 128 odd crores. Having said that, I think the top line growth, as I mentioned, should be quite good, with 11 to 12% coming through the next 2 years. The debt to EBITDA probably should improve from 3.3 currently to around 0.91x probably in the next 2 years. So clearly on an EV to sales of 0.5 times, the company is looking extremely attractive. It is turning around on the E&P side, and that should probably take it forward. So clearly a target of 290 over the next 12 months on Bajaj Electricals.
Alright, so that's Bajaj Electricals, but in pre-opening there are a couple of stocks that do deserve mention. Tata Steel is higher in trade today. Remember, it's one of the biggest gainers this month with a 14% gain in December, and that stock is higher after it signed a letter of intent for sale of its long products business in UK, which is a positive. So let's see where that stock heads. Wipro is the other one. After acquiring Viteos Fund Services, Wipro is well in the green. And from the broader markets, you have something like Prestige Estates that has gone up on the back of the news flow that we spoke about earlier, where they've bought back Red Fort's 62% stake in Exora Business Park. So Prestige Estates is in the green. Mayuresh, any thoughts on how to approach Prestige Estates now?
No, clearly, Sonia, I think if you look by how the performance has been and what the management guidance was for the better part of FY16, they're way below what they had probably guided for. Again, I think they are diversifying beyond Bangalore, but Bangalore probably still remains one of the key markets for them. And again, I think the pre-sales for a lot of the new project launches will be key going forward. So yes, I think from a valuation perspective, if you look at the residential business, even if you look at the commercial part, which is doing quite okay when you compare the other players, I think the stock looks reasonably valued. But again, I think one really needs to understand how the performance will be in the next 2 quarters, because if they miss the guidance, probably looking at weaker sales coming through and the momentum might not continue. So again, I think valuation wise looks attractive, but I think I'll still wait for the results to probably come through before we take a call on the stock.
Mr. Tulsian, you were telling us that you were not very enthused by the deal that they have just struck.
See, actually, if you see the logic, Lata, they have acquired 62%. They were already holding 37, 38%. I don't understand if you see the yield which they have all been getting on 2 million square feet of about 130, 140 crore, and why the company should increase the annuity yield, which is less than maybe about 6 to 8%. You may be having a view of some capital appreciation, but I don't think that that's a job of the developer. Maybe a Blackstone kind of PE investors can be very aggressive in acquiring it. And actually, there are so many other gray areas, or we need the clarifications that the developed area is 3 million square feet while the lease area is only 2.13 million square feet. So what are the balance? Maybe about 0.8 or maybe about 8 lakh square feet or 8.5 lakh square feet, which is held by the company. So there are so many things, and I'm honestly not convinced with this increasing the stake. Maybe this could be an exit given by the investor who had made it investments earlier, and some commitment must have come. Otherwise, it must not be a wishful acquisition by the company. And if it is a wishful, I am not convinced, and I don't think that this will be seen as positive.
All right. In fact, the company has been fundamentally also not doing that well. X of this buy, of course, it will be unable to meet its FY16 guidance on all fronts because of how weak the quarters have been. But let's do one thing. Let's get you some more trading ideas in our segment Super 6, and then we'll come back and chat about the markets.
All right, so that's a bunch of trading ideas to work with. Mr. Tulsian, you have one more pick for us. Actually, if you can take us through that. Sorry, I don't have the company's name.
See, Lata, it's a polymedicure. This into, they are making the medical products for about practically for all segments. If I just say for infusion, anesthesia, dialysis, surgery, urology, pediatrics, or maybe blood management, for any part, and they make over 100 products. And if you see, they have 4 plants. One plant, I don't think that there is any kind of US FDA approval is required, but the one plant at Chandigarh has been US FDA inspected. They have 4 plants in India and 1 plant in China. The China plant is again, meeting with the Korean good manufacturing practices. It's a GMP maybe Korea GMP compliant plant.
Okay.
And if you see the kind of infrastructure, the aggregate capacity is about 4 lakh square feet. And they are also holding 23% stake in the Egyptian plant. They have the same product. On the financial front, for first half, they had a top line of 200 crore, operating profit of 30 crore, PAT of 22 crore, resulting into an EPS of 5 rupees. If you see the board and all that, it's a technocrat board. The chairman of the company is ex-SEBI chief DR Mehta. He is the chairman of the company. So, coming on I think on the corporate governances and all sort of things, you have a lot of confidence. But I am very enthused on the products which they are making. They are supplying right now to the over 2,000 hospitals and they have 950 dealers. And now if we see the hospital additions are happening, but there are no product companies which are really expanding in a big way except for the MNCs companies, which they have their presence. So I see a lot of potential. If you see the shareholding pattern again, equity is 22 crore with a face value of 5 rupees. Promoters are holding about 50% stake and 7 HNIs are holding 40% stake. So there is a very low float of just about 10%. Share is now ruling close to about 400 and I'm expecting a price of 500 rupees in next 6 months or so.
Okay, so that's a 25% gain that Mr. Tulsian sees in Poly Medicure. There's just one more question I wanted to ask, this time to Mayuresh. What did you make of Tata Steel now probably finally selling its long products business or coming close to it?
So Lata, clearly I think it was long anticipated by the markets, and once it's come through, probably I think a lot of excitement in the stock is probably over, at least from a short-term perspective. The core business dynamics, however, still remain weak. So if you look at the European business, the realizations thereof are still expected to be muted with the kind of anti-dumping that we're probably still witnessing from China and Russia coming through. The Southeast Asian markets are still witnessing a huge amount of dumping coming through, and you might witness very weak numbers probably coming through on that front as well. Even on the domestic part, with the Kalinganagar expansion probably happening in phases, you're still looking at 1.5 MT of high iron ore inventory yet to be used by Tata Steel. So clearly I think the numbers will be soft, and probably the news with the sale is probably out. So I think the stock probably has made its near-term peak. So clearly I think the dynamics of the steel industry, realizations volume-wise, appear still weak. So I think the stock might correct from levels that we're probably witnessing right now.
So Darshan, chartically, Tata Steel?
To me, Tata Steel looks a buying opportunity all the time. A 4-month base was finally broken on the upside. We've been giving it in our buy list. So there is no sense that a top is coming. Once that sense comes in, once we see distribution, we'll turn bearish or say there is resistance. But as of now on the charts, it's a buy.
Okay, Mayuresh, just wanted to come to you on, we have a couple of new listings today on Dr. Lal Path Labs. It's expected to list quite well today. If we do see listing gains, then what would your recommendation be to investors?
So clearly, I think as a disclaimer, I think we had a neutral view purely based on the valuations that Dr. Lal was deriving. Yes, I think it's a niche business that the company is doing in the listed space, cash-rich company. But again, the valuations around 40 times trailing revenues is not giving us comfort at all. So clearly, I think if investors wait for opportunities and if the stock does list at a premium, which it is expected to, I think the suggestion would be to wait for declines before one really enters the counter. And again, I think one really needs to understand how the capex plans will pan out, what kind of technological innovations are needed over the next 2 years, what kind of competition it has to counter. So clearly I think we will wait for declines onto the counter.
Mr. Tulsian, your word on both the stocks on listing, should one buy at what levels?
See, I think maybe Dr. Lal Path Lab will open, with a premium of maybe about 160 to 180. So I won't be too excited to buy because 550 was the issue price. Don't consider 15 rupees discount having given to the listing. So it should list maybe at about 720, 725. I am not too excited. But coming on Alchem Lab, the issue price was at 1050. I am expecting it to list anywhere about 1300. So I'll be buyer even up to 1350 as well. Even if you have to pay 300 rupees premium, I will be advised to buy. We will give a buy call on Alchem Lab. And I don't have interest in both the stocks. Neither I have applied nor I have the investments.
Yes, neither do we. We only have interest in some of their brands like Pan-D that we've used for acidity in the past perhaps. So that's something to watch out for. Alchem Labs, the stock list today. We have 25 seconds before the markets open. So one of the top gainers is Tata Steel, and let's also get one quick call from Amit on Arvind, a strategy that he has today. Amit?
See, I think the best part in the stock is, if you look at, I mean, this is at the life highs, but the leverage is very low. I mean, in the last 1 or 2 series, definitely we have seen that around 65%, 70% of open interest has been added. In fact, in the last session also around 13-14% of OI has been added. So
Amit, we'll just come back to you in a second. Just want to update on the way the markets opened. A handsome 0.5% gain, 7830, pretty much what the SGX indicated. Likewise for the Sensex, 0.5% higher, that's about 127 higher on the Sensex. Big gains coming in on Tata Steel, so the markets, at least for the moment, taken it positively. As Sudarshan has been pointing out, that stock chartically certainly has bottomed and has been showing good gains for the past several weeks. Now up almost 3%, Tata Steel, on hopes that the long products bit is finally getting sold off in Europe. Actually, the metal space itself is doing very well. There was certainly stability in the commodity space. I noted that at the start of the show. We could see that in the Australian trading as well as on LME trades. So Vedanta, Hindalco are also keeping Tata Steel Company with 1.5% in terms of gains. GAIL is up 1.7, so that's the top 4 gainers. Sun Pharma up 1.3, ONGC 1%, understandably. Some bit of stability in crude only for the moment. And then come the banks. Bank of Baroda, Yes Bank are all in the green. Marginally, not a great deal, 1% higher for those stocks. Lupin as well, like Sun Pharma. The pharma companies are in the green. Bosch is up about 1%. Among IT stocks, Infosys is the one that's doing very well at 0.8. HUL as well up 0.75%. Power Grid is up 0.75%. Axis is now joining the list of gainers with a 0.8% in terms of gains. Other 0.5% gainers or thereabouts include IndusInd Bank, TCS, Ambuja Cement, HDFC, L&T. That's the list of stocks which are about gaining about 0.5%. Punjab National Bank, L&T also joining that list. Okay, let's tell you what's in the red. Not a whole lot at all, actually. It's only Asian Paints that's in the red today. That's a fairly good showing as far as the markets are concerned. The Nifty 49 on 50 in the green, a fairly decent opening and now still climbing. Sensex is up almost 200, 186 as I speak, 0.75 up on the Sensex. Mid-caps trailing but still in the green.
Yes, in the green for the mid-cap index. It's a decent opening for the market, so up about 0.6%. The market breadth is quite strong as well, so 900 stocks on the advancing side versus about 120 on the declining end. A couple of these stocks do deserve mention. Chambal Fertilizers is up almost 5% after the board has approved a sale of its entire shipping business on a slump sale basis, so that's something to watch for. Pilani Investments gets out of T2T today, and the circuit filter has been revised up to 20% versus 5%, so Pilani Investments is up about 8.5% or so. Prestige Estates has acquired Red Fort Holdings 62% stake in Exora Business Park, and it will now, with this, get a majority control over a large rental yielding asset, so it's seen as a positive. Prestige Estates up about 1.5%. A couple of other stocks to watch. JP Infra is looking to once again exit the Yamuna Expressway project, so there could be some up move there, about 2% higher. Adani Ports could be in focus as well. Citi has cut their target price on that company to 20 rupees. Adani Power, I'm sorry, is the stock to look at. That should come up for you. Citi has gone ahead and cut their target price to 20 rupees versus 34 rupees earlier, so that stock is under pressure. Wipro, after that acquisition, I think was holding up in the green the last time I checked, and Welspun Enterprises as well, on the back of the news flow, is up almost about 7%.
All right, that's good going, you will have to say. Sudarshan, after the market opening, anything that swims into your radar?
No, at this point it's only the Nifty and the Bank Nifty, and I've already said that we should be buying that. For the Nifty, the stops are 7770, and use the same stops for the Bank Nifty.
Okay.
Individual stocks, the general theme for today should be focus on Nifty stocks which are high beta stocks, metals or banks.
Okay, fair enough. Actually, sorry, Amit, we didn't complete the Arvind argument. If you can tell us your strategy again.
No, I think there are a few points, which favor the buy in the stock right now at the current prices also. If you look at the month of November, we had seen the market coming down from 81.50 to almost testing the previous lows of November, but the stock remained around 290 levels. And then the news, I think some positive news came for interest rate subvention for the sector, and then it had a breakout above 290, and there was a very good delivery pickup since then. And then afterwards Nifty had again gone down below the September lows, but this stock did not go down. In fact, it remained higher, and in fact it gave an opportunity around 290, 295 again to buy. So I was mentioning about the low leverage in the stock in comparison to 2014, because people on the street were talking about the resistance of 328, because in the last 1 year it has not been able to take out this level. But previously the open interest was almost 140% higher, so people were jumping to buy the stock, and that is why it became very heavy and was not able to move up. But this time the scenario is different. Now the some additions definitely have come, but the leverage is very low. So that is why I think the fresh additions may come, and possibly another 30-40 rupees on the higher side is very much possible for the stock. So for the timing we are giving a target of 358. See, another positive could be the if you look at the 30-day volatility and 60-day volatility in the stock, because we generally take the difference of 30-day vols minus 60-day vols. It is around -3. It is dipping down just because the 30-day vols are cooling off very faster, which can provide support to the stock.
All right, Amit, thanks a lot for joining us with your views and strategies. Anuj Singhal has also joined us. Anuj, it's a fairly impressive advanced declines, you will have to say. Not only are the Sensex and the Nifty up about 3/4%, it's almost 6 stocks in the green for 1 in the red.
Yeah, I mean the start has been good, Lata. The pattern has been followed so far. Up, down,
red,
up,
green,
down,
red, green. Also
again green.
days.
But again, the zone to watch is 78.50 to 7900. If the market struggles again, there's a chance of a second half pressure. If the Nifty takes out 7900, then I think you'll see a one-way short covering. But this next 60 points is going to be a bit of a struggle for the market.
Okay, there continue to be some stocks hitting fresh 52-week highs. Reliance Communication is one of them. Jet Airways is the other one. Arvind is the third one. All these companies hitting fresh highs. Berger Paints as well, up about 1.5% at a new 52-week high. And a couple of these sugar stocks like Dwarikesh Sugar have been hitting new highs as well. So Darshan, any of these stocks that you would want to trade further today?
No, it's early morning, but I think Arcom is usually a stock that you could be looking to buy. The stock is in a sustained up move. I don't have a pattern, so I can't tell you go and buy it, but it is something that traders should be looking for an opportunity.
Okay, I wanted to ask the same question to Rajat as well. Rajat, Relcom and indeed any of the other ADAG stocks.
Would say that I would like to buy Arcom. Actually, I have recommended to my clients long back, I mean around the 70s for Arcom for a target of 93, and even yesterday on your sister channel I gave a buy on this. So Arcom remains a buy till about 93 to 95. There is that is a critical supply zone for that stock. And regarding other stocks, Reliance Capital. Reliance Capital now currently around say 410. Once it crosses 413, it can actually move up to something like 421 to about 422. And if you buy at current levels, put a stop below 405.
But why are you guys not speaking about Rel Infra? That also had a fairly brilliant rally, I thought. Seemed to be finding some bit of a roof at 450, 460 levels. Sudarshan?
Oh yes, it is, but I don't track it carefully, so it slips. That's
okay. All. But it's a buy, is it?
I think it's a buy. It's not a day trade. So let me give that. It's something you want to buy and hold because its relative strength is significantly outperforming. But you have to hold it.
Okay. Okay. I just want to point out that Sun Pharma is one stock that's spiking up now, and we do understand that there are details of the FDA warning letter that have come through, and there are no major negatives in that FDA warning letter. In fact, the FDA has not highlighted any systemic multi-plant issues as was observed with Dr. Reddy's, and the issues highlighted remain confined only to Halol upon re-inspection. So that's the comment coming in. So no major negatives from that US FDA letter. Kotak has also put out a note where they say that there are no data integrity issues or firm-wide compliance breaches highlighted in the warning letter, which is a positive for Sun Pharma, and that stock is actually spiking up right now, up almost about 3% odd. Mayuresh, come in on this. How do you approach Sun Pharma now?
So clearly, I think going by what you're saying, Sonia, I think there is every probability that there would not be any import ban. If that does not happen, I think alone, which contributes 8 to 9% of the top line for Sun Pharma, and which contributes almost 10% of the EPS. A lot of analysts were probably assuming that there might be a 10% EPS hit if the import ban comes true. But again, I think if the warning letter is not suggesting any of these issues and the remedial issues will happen much faster in that case, I think the EPS for Sun Pharma should then get maintained around at 28.5, 29 odd rupees. So again, I think we remain extremely optimistic in terms of the pipeline, in terms of launches, and in terms of whatever has just come through on the exchange.
Okay, what about you, Mr. Tulsian? Actually, the Kotak note is fairly positive. It says that looks like the warning letter was issued more because of lack of updates from the company rather than because of any divergence in their plan. What's the call on this stock?
See, I think maybe US FDA issue for the time being has given some relief, but actually there has been again a talk in the market that the company is also looking to acquire one company, maybe about 10,000 crore. And in fact, that I won't be talking too much of those details and all that. It will not be that's a premature or just a market gossip, but that can be seen as a pricey acquisitions, because if you really take a call on that. So I don't know that which combination can we really, revolve around the US FDA. If we are just revolving around US FDA, then probably the relief, near-term relief has come. But honestly, if you really ask me, I won't be taking the stock as too comforting, because this is seemed quite expensive. And if you keep on maybe relying on the news of acquisitions or maybe US FDA comfort, that can be short-lived. So you will be take the stock more as a trading bet, maybe in the range of 750 to 830 or that kind of thing. But I won't be taking a comforting investment call on the stock to have in the portfolio with 6 to 8 months view.
In fact, the Sun charts.
Sun Pharma, I would say that it is looking good today, but and can climb to around 810 or so. But I would say that there is some kind of a resistance. Once it crosses 810, then perhaps there's much more upside. But I think I would be slightly cautious in the upper region, so it looks up to me.
In fact, the stock is now at the highest point, up more than 3%, okay, 2.8%. Kotak also says that Sun Pharma can actually complete the remediation measures by as early as the first quarter of calendar year 2016. And depending on the FDA's inspection schedule, the Halol facility can be back in compliance by Q2 of CY16. So they are quite hopeful that in the next 1 or 2 months itself, the remediation measures can be completed. That stock up 3%. So Darshan, a quick comment on Sun Pharma and how to trade that one today?
No, I wouldn't trade it, but I would be a willing buyer once it settles down. There's far too much volatility to go and trade or invest in it. So it's just, but the only thing I know is I wouldn't short it at all.
Rajat?
I've given a buy on Sun Pharma.
Okay.
I feel that once it failed, it actually after the day it failed, once it broke 770 levels, that was a clear fall, and so it completed that fall. And today, when I saw that it was crossing 770, and now it has even crossed 780, so I'm looking at a price of 798 to about 807 on the upside. After that, we would take a call as to how it pans out and all that. But overall, from an investment point of view, you are much safer once it crosses 844.
All right, the markets are looking quite good now, up about 0.8% at the 7850 odd level on the Nifty. And apart from Sun Pharma, that's moving with quite a bit of strength, Tata Steel is the other one that we mentioned. But now there are some fresh additions in terms of heavyweights. So Reliance has started to participate. It's back above the 1,000 mark, Reliance Industries. Lupin as well is up more than 1% odd. But let's thank Mr. Tulsian for joining us and a couple of other guests as well. Mayuresh, thanks for joining us. Sudarshan as well, thank you for being with us. Ekta is with us also. She's going to tell us about some of the brokerage views that have come in on Sun Pharma.